Hi, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm going to start off today. We're going to just do a little lesson in simulation mode, and then I'll move to a video we have done. I'm going to do most of the work in select and sew. In the video, we do go into pantograph to set up a vertical sashing. So I'm going to start in select and sew. Yeah, so we're going to do most of our work in select and sew. And I'm going to, my Zoom piece always gets in my way. Choose my pattern. So in Select and Sew, we have these gray nodes, and when you move your machine and touch on the node, it will change from gray to green. That's how you know you've placed that corner. In Select and Sew, these are all of our placements. There's 1 point, 2 point, block, 4 point, triangle, and on point. Today we're going to be working on with 4 points and some 1 point on this. So yeah, there's a lot of people talk about, I hear people say that they want to do a block, but then when they come in, the placement methods confuse them because there's almost too many. So there is a purpose of all of them. 4 point, you do all 4 points of your block. A block placement, you do a top left and a bottom right. 4 point, I feel is better because if your block isn't perfectly pieced, you'll have those angles on that. And then triangles, we're gonna hit on next month. And then we have our on point, our 2 point, and our 1 point. I think one of my favorites is the 1 point. I use 1 point a lot, and 1 point corner. So we have our placements, and then below our placements, it shows our fill method. How are we gonna fill our block? With the 1 point is just where you're going to start or where you're going to place it. If I'm at 2 points, the fill, it's a placement also, but the fill is either between your 2 points is either stretch or fit. Block has stretch or fit. 4 point stretch and fit, and then triangle has stretch and fit, and then a different, two different options for the triangle. So I'm gonna go back to 4 point. I'm also gonna talk about the marking tool. So let's talk about the marking tool right now. You're gonna find it in Select and Sew and other parts of the program. It's in your plugins. So if I go to plugins, I'll see the marking tool. Also, you can see it down here on the bottom left where it has the toolbox. I can go in there and then arrow down a little bit. There's a ruler and then there's the marking tool. So the marking tool is an awesome little tool. There's so much you can use for it. If you've been with the software for quite some time, we used to have what's called multi-placement, not multi-pattern placement, but placement. And that went away, but the marking tool replaced it. There's a lot more to the marking tool than the other one had. The one thing that the marking tool doesn't have that the other hand was a closed loop. So if you're going around an odd shape, you can close the loop, where this one you have to close the loop yourself. In the marking tool, you can add different marks. You can't, so if you have multiple ones, you can just add a mark, or you can remove it, remove all. So basically with the marking tool, you move your machine and you add a point. The point where I'm adding is on the bottom at the center. So I'm going to move my machine and add my point. Like, so the marking tool was designed to show you on screen what is going on your quilt. Like I said before, there's a lot of usage. If you've ever had to pull a quilt off the frame, Jeri's really good at this, by the way, but don't tell her that. to unpick something, say you were rolling your quilt and you found out that you've seen a bad row of tension. So you pulled the quilt off and you can, when you get it back on the frame, you can mark where it has stitched, and that will help you place your pantograph to finish that out if when you're doing a pantograph. It also can sew if you want. Say I marked an odd shape, on the bottom right, there's pattern, ditch, and mark. I can check the mark and undo pattern, and when I hit quilt, it's going to say it's placeable. It's already placed. Then it will sew adjust the mark. So you could use the marking tool for stitching the ditch to help you place an odd shape. If you need to, if your system shut down for some strange reason and you needed to get back, you didn't have your marks on your quilt, then the marking tool can help that. A lot of great tools for this. You can also zoom in. We have a zoom in here to help you see, and then you can move to find. I like the zoom when I'm placing a tight, it's small, the block is smaller than my safe area, so it's hard to see the nodes. So the zoom helps on that, and that is in my video. To get rid of my mark, so the mark is always going to stay on your screen until you get rid of it. You have to go back in the plugins and remove it. Since I only have one, I can do either remove last, or I can remove all if I have multiples. If you have multiples, actually the remove all under marks, it's at the bottom in the center, will remove all of the different marks. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove this one because I don't want it anymore. Now I'm going to talk about, we're going to do multi-pattern placement. With multi-pattern placement, you can place multiple patterns in different blocks and then sew them all at once. Now, keep in mind, you don't want to do the whole area because of fabric shrinkage. You want to do a certain area, couple, 4 or 5 blocks, depending on your pattern size, your quilt block size. If it is like a 12-inch block, you might not want to do 3 of them, maybe 1 or maybe 2 of them, just because that fabric is going to shift a little bit, and you don't want it to go over into another block. So I'm going to check multi-pattern placement.
Marie, check your pattern before you check multi-placement.
Check my pattern.
Yeah, right below. Otherwise, it's not going to be seen. So uncheck your multi-placement first and uncheck your markings and check your pattern.
Oh, I get it. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
there you go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, great. No,
I'll
that's
shut up
awesome.
now.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, what she's saying, if I didn't have pattern checked and I went to quilt, there would be nothing there. So I'm going to do multi-pattern placement. It's telling you that you must capture your pattern to get it, and I will talk about that in here in a second. Notice when I checked multi-pattern placement, my pattern is now gray. It is not blue. If I was to hit quilt, you would see nothing on the screen because this needs to be blue before you hit quilt. So I'm going to place this pattern over here, and I'll just go through all of them real quick. And I now want to add another pattern, or I can add the same pattern in the next block. So I'm going to tap on pattern. It's going to ask me if you would like to place another pattern. I'm going to say yes. It will bring up another one in the center, and then I can place my next pattern. Now, a couple of fun things with the multi-pattern placement. If I make any adjustments to this, say I flip it upside down or whatever adjustments you're making to the pattern, there is now a copy. Well, there is a copy down at the bottom on the right hand side. I'm going to hit copy, and it will bring in another pattern just like I had made changes to that. One thing I do want to note on here, if you hit pattern and you say no or X and you don't, well, even if you say yes, and if you don't go quilt this right away, you do have a chance of doubling your pattern on top. But when you're done and you say, would you like to place another pattern? And you say, you say no, make sure you go right to quilt and sew it out. So you won't have any patterns doubled up on top of each other. So there, so yeah, there's the ditch on the multi-pattern. So I'm going to talk about this because this one's really tough. I struggle with this a lot. And I know others do too. So say I don't want this pattern that's showing. So I'm going to delete last. There's an all and there's a last. So I'm going to delete last. It's going to ask me, are we sure? And I'm going to say yes. So it didn't, so look how my pattern's gray. It didn't remove my pattern. And that's kind of the confusing part to others. It's still there. It didn't remove the pattern, but it turned it gray. So it's not there anymore. So if I hit quilt, you will not see it because it's grayed out. So you truly can't delete it, but you can make it so it won't sew. And then if you need to make any changes and if you hit reset on this, trust me, I've done the reset too many times and have had
Yeah,
to stop.
it'll take it all away.
Yeah, so be careful of that too. So you can't go back to like say the third one you did. You can't go back to that one to redo it. So be careful when you're doing that also. So yeah. Yeah, so there's multi-pattern placement and the marking tool. So I'm going to go ahead and start my video maybe. All right, so this is Carla's quilt that she did, but this is her design. This is Jeri's quilt that we're going to be stitching on with our video. Jeri, will you tell us, I think the hardest part about this is what design to use and what design you like. I've watched, sorry, Carla, I'm going to tell them a little secret. I've watched Carla purchase a pattern and put it on her quilt and didn't like it. So she stopped it and she ripped it out and she went and did another one. So I think all of us probably have a hard time deciding what to put and design on here. I like to always have a backup. I hear people talk about this. I see people talk about whether this quilt speaks to you. When I put a quilt, I could have a pattern chosen, but when I put the quilt on the frame, it's not speaking to me with that pattern, so I have to choose another pattern. This one we have multiple blocks going on, so Jeri's doing quite a bit different patterns, but I would like her to speak about her quilt on how she decided on what patterns to use with her quilt here. Are
Okay,
you
yeah.
cool?
So this I decided on this pattern from Carla. I was going to use all scraps. So we were talking earlier when we were all just chatting that you can use scraps for a lot of the different patterns that you get out there. Everything on here was scraps from a quilt that I made for my great niece and scraps that we had at Grace. And I wanted to do, there's a lot of floral in here. And so I wanted to do floral garden, that kind of a theme. And so I just started looking through the Grace patterns that we have in the gold. And even actually, I think one or two of these might just be if you don't have gold, they're still there. But I just started going through all the patterns. I started going through some of the patterns that Maria's collected. So she's a great resource for me when it comes to patterns. And I actually did go find a 2 or 3 online that I really liked, and I went ahead and got those. But I wanted I do have a theme. There is a method to my madness. And so it's all kind of either floral or garden themed on this particular quilt.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And when we get started on this, we're going to be doing this block on the far right. Mainly because we're doing multi-pattern placement on this, and then we'll move back to the left and do this block, and then the vertical sashing. So let me get started. I'd also like to ask the group, when I'm filming this, I actually, when I filmed this, I used 2 different kinds of cameras, and which angle do you guys would help you best when we do our videos? The first block, I'm just holding the camera behind Jeri, filming, and then the second block, I put a GoPro on the sewing machine and used it that way. So if you guys could let me know which one you think works best and helps out, then that could help when I'm actually filming. So yeah. So we're using the select and sew part of the program. First we need to set our safe area. Make sure you move it off to the height, your top left off your quilt top, and then the bottom right. You want to make it big enough so you're not having to reset it as you're moving around doing your blocks. Jeri is picking her pattern here, and she does hesitate a little bit because she's deciding whether she uses that reef or the next reef. I think the end result was the second reef wasn't so, because she wants to put a pattern in the middle of that reef, so she decided to use that one. And now you don't see the camera on this one because you'll see why. She placed her pattern, and then she's going to go into the marking tool. And this is where the marking tool can help you on placing your patterns. As she moves the machine, she clicks add. And why isn't it coming up? Okay, so there we go. So this is with me holding the camera behind her. This is one of the views. So yeah, she is going to move the machine and then add a point to get her mark, because she wants to be able to place this correctly. I wish I could fast forward this a little more. Oh, check out that new foot on the sewing machine.
Yeah, the super glide foot, you
Yeah,
guys.
isn't that sweet looking?
Coming soon.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Because, man, you can see really well with that one. Sorry, this one's,
She's doing more markings to make sure that she's getting the angle of her block down.
yeah,
So the more markings you do, you don't have to be really, really close unless it's a curved design. But the more markings, the better the outcome will be, because you are adding them to it and you're angling it so it's going to stitch around where you want to more
right.
accurately.
Yeah, believe it or not, my lines are not straight.
Actually, it looks pretty good on screen.
Yeah, the marks
And
on
you got
screen
your
look
quilt
pretty
on
good.
pretty straight, you guys. Nice
It's
job.
it looks great on screen, but in real life, it's yeah.
Oh, By the time you get to the bottom, it's a
Yeah.
different thing.
I mean, it turned out really pretty. I was really happy with it.
So this is where she's gonna, in the center, she's gonna add, you can name it anything you want. You can use numbers, you can use words, it does not matter on that. So she did an add, she typed in the number 2, and now she's doing the inside. Jeri likes to, when she does a wreath like this, she loves to put something in the center, and that's why we're marking the outside and the inside, because she's going to add another pattern to this one. Almost there.
While we're waiting, I have a question for you. Actually, it's Diane's question. She asks, are you offsetting those marks to the inside of the border, or is your needle right there on the border itself?
Jeri is, okay, so hang
I
on just a
think I
sec.
did it right on, like my needle would come down on the border.
Well, on the ditch line. Is
On the
that
ditch
what you were
line,
doing?
yeah.
So it's your
Right
seam,
on the ditch line, yeah. That's
on
right.
the seam of the piecing.
So
Yeah.
Jeri tapped on multi-pattern placement so she can have a second one. So I want you to know I stopped the video here because we screwed up. I was going to cut this out, but I decided to show you our screw up. And this is where I hit remove all to remove the other pattern. We forgot to, when we put the first pattern on there, we forgot to adjust it to what we wanted to.
I forgot to size it.
Yes, we forgot to size it, so we had to hit reset and go back and get our pattern, place it again. And she's using 1 point center, so she's just moving the machine into the center of, there you go. Oh, that was a little quick. And now she's sizing it. When you're using 1 point placement, you have size options. So she sized it the size of her block, and now she's just tweaking it a little bit, using the in buttons to grow it a little bit. And then she hit the multi-pattern placement again. Would you like to place another pattern? She said yes. And now she's gonna get her second pattern. And then she's gonna put it right in the middle and then use the sizing buttons again. She knew what size to put it in. So if you tap in the white, then you can just put in your size. And then we're gonna capture that center pattern because it's gray, and she's gonna say no, because that's the only 2 she's going to do. She's gonna hit quilt. And stitch out her 2 designs. Oh, so we did go into settings. She wants to run it on slow. She's gonna change her tie-offs. Change your tie-offs, Jeri.
I think we were talking. and-
Yeah. We did, and then she chose to
Do
not-
continuous.
yeah, to not pause at a trim line. So this is going to, when it needs to move from one to the next, the machine is just going to move by itself. It's there's not a move to next button. And in that case, it depends on your distance, whether you want to use the move to next or let the machine do it. If this was going to go all the way across the quilt, I would have it checked so we could pull up the bobbin and then move to the next section. But since they're so close, it's easier to just uncheck. But then it depends on you as a quilter too, because if you want to bury your threads or something like that, then you'd want to pull up the bobbin. Okay, so I stopped the sewing all the way around just to show you the move to go to the next pattern in the center.
It was just a couple of inches, so
Yeah, so
it
it was,
worked out that way.
yeah. And that depends on you, whether you want to have the moved next on or off. It's just you as a quilter, what option you want. In font stitcher, I like to have that off. Like I said, if it's a big move, it's moving from, if you're doing a pantograph and it's moving from the right side to the left side, you definitely want to pick up your bobbin thread and then move the machine to the left side and then carry on from there. This is a cute little hen. But yeah, this is Jeri's kind of little niche. If she ever does something that in the center is open, she'll stick another pattern in there. So far, you've done that twice on this one, haven't you?
I think I have 3 now. that
So
have a
there's
center.
there's her stitch, and she will do the triangles a little later. Well, I'm not gonna. We did,
Well, during triangle time, yeah.
yeah, for triangle time for next. Yeah. All right. So now we're gonna move to the next. It finished. We're gonna move to the next block. And this was another a pattern that she chose to do the first block. And then because it's still showing the others from the multi-pattern placement, she's going to hit reset. And then we're going to go back into the marking tool because we don't need those marks anymore. And just remove all that's on the bottom center. It asks if you want to remove it, and yes. And then we're going to go back to the placement, and she's going to change her placement to 4-point placement. And we're going to do 4-point stretch. She unchecked the multi-pattern placement, and when you did that, it changed it from the gray to the blue. So she's at the top left of her block, tap the node, move to the, and it does not matter which direction you go on your 4-point placement. You can go any direction you want. And then at this point, when you're just doing a block, you can add 4-point, let you add margins. If you want to add a margin, you can do a ditch. She went in a little bit using the margins in the center. She didn't want it to go over. And then because her start stop point's down here, she moved it closer. And she hit pull bobbin. Sorry, Carla. Don't watch this part, Carla.
All right, I'm ignoring you.
So can I just say one thing here?
Absolutely.
On this particular block, I did not do fabric comp, and I should have. And
On
so
this
all
one?
the other blocks that I've done subsequently, I have used the fabric comp tool. This one, I love the way it's stitched out, but it did overlap some of my stitching. And so if you use your fabric comp to go around that block, it will make sure that it stays inside your block and it doesn't go out.
Yeah. So this is the second view that I had was with my GoPro. So on that one. So now I'm going to go into pantograph. Jeri left me. She had to go to a meeting, so I had to do this by myself. So we're going to do this, a vertical sashing next to that block. I'm going to go into the ruler because I don't know the size of that block. I didn't quilt it. But what the process is here is I'm just going to measure. I'm going to move my machine to the top left and then tap the top left button on the bottom and then moved it down to the bottom right. So I just kind of did a little block, and then I'm going to use this button. It's going to change. There we go. I want it. I don't, Is this line always showing for you guys? I hope not. Anyway, and now I have to do it backwards because you can't, so since my sashing is vertical, I have to design it horizontal. And then when I get there, then I'll need to flip it. I did the ruler and I just got the measurements and then I just added the measurements in there. And then in pattern, excuse me, then in the Power Panto, I selected the fit and fill, so it will be whole patterns. And then from here, I'm going to rotate it 45 degrees twice. It'll look really weird, but once you start placing it, then it's not gonna look so weird. Notice so now I'm going to place my pattern. And like I said, it doesn't matter which direction you go, but I didn't want to go back down and then come back up. This is how you can accomplish your vertical sashing. Because these blocks are 12 inches, we didn't do a whole lot of multi-pattern placement. I would suggest to Jeri, oh, I got to tell you about this one, sorry. So I screwed up and I hit the wrong node. And so I wanted to show you the zoom in on the program, and then so I can make sure I tap the right node that time. So if you have something small, the zoom is really good, but remember to take the zoom off, because if you go to work in another part of the quilt, you're not going to see your pattern because you've
Right.
zoomed in. Carla's laughing, so
I know, it happens
so
all the time.
you've done that before, yeah. And because this pattern's not real dense and it doesn't go to the sides all the time, I didn't feel like the fabric comp was necessary on this one. So now I'm just gonna get it, and yeah, so this one's gonna stitch out. So yeah, if you're doing, then she has, see the horizontal sashing she has above this one. Sorry, Carla, I did pull bobbin myself too, and I missed, and I missed it, so I had to
You
hit
don't have to apologize. If you like pull bobbin, that's you.
I just know how much it drives you crazy. I just know it does. I'm that person that uses pull bobbin at the first and then manually do it at the end, but my excuse is I have to test it to make sure it works. So yeah,
I just think it's slow, you guys.
it is. I also like testing my bobbin thread with the pull bobbin function to make sure it comes up smoothly. Because if you feel it catching it all, that's when I would stop and check out. So now it's going to stitch out our vertical sashing. So the horizontal sashings that she has on here, you would just do the same thing in pantograph and stitch it all out, and well, design it in pantograph and then sew as a single pattern, and then use 4-point placement to place it. And then you definitely want to use your fabric comp on your horizontal sashing because it's very long.
So one thing, Marie, you didn't tell them, or maybe I missed it. I had to walk away for just a second. You saved this pattern.
Oh yeah, I do that
so
after this. Yep.
So that I could reuse it.
Yes. And I did this, I actually did it after I hit the finish button here. So yeah, that you do want to save it because she has
As a vertical design.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I
It
just
makes it
did
much
this-
easier.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did the same on the horizontal sashings. I saved that one as well.
yeah, so it doesn't have to be redesigned.
Exactly. Saves a lot of time.
Yeah, she's got 19 more to quilt. So yeah, that's why I saved
Well,
it.
and your sizing will be correct all the way through it.
Right.
Yeah. And so those are the 2 blocks.
Nice job, you guys.
So yeah. There we go. So yeah, this is a pretty quilt. I'm excited to get mine done.
It's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah,
I threw some challenges in there for us.
yes, you did. Yep. I can't wait to see others and how they've um made it their own type
Yeah,
thing. So
that's what it's all about, you guys. Pick and
yep,
choose, make it your own. Or even if you want to do something totally different, don't even use the blocks. Come on. It's all about you, what you like.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I
this was
love
a lot of
how
fun.
on her border she did just all scraps
Yeah.
on her border. Looks awesome.
Yeah,
So
it was so much fun. I really enjoyed making this. There were some challenges in there, but I learned a lot doing this one.
That's what it's
yeah,
all about.
yeah. How many you got done, Carla? I got 3 blocks done. How many you got done?
I only have 2 more to do. So
Oh, to do? Oh wow.
yeah,
Wow.
I'll have it done.
I need to catch up with you guys
Yeah.
on hers.
Okay, so Marie, do you mind closing out and going to the home screen and coming back into select and sew? There's just a couple of questions I want to make sure we reiterated. So first of all, when you come into select and sew, how do they find the multi-block placement?
Okay, so you would need to choose a pattern
Yeah.
and open it. And then it is on the bottom right-hand side.
And is that in all of the levels or just some of the levels?
Gold.
Gold only. So ladies, if you
Gold.
want this, it's worth upgrading.
Yeah, this is a gold access feature.
See, it's right there. Do you
Yeah.
mind showing the difference between fit and stretch?
Sure. I like to use the bear.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Yeah. So I'm going to place my block. Oh, didn't it? And this is stretch, so it's stretching to all. So there's four sides, right? So the bear will, the program will stretch your design to either the top or the bottom and then stop, and then it goes to the same with right or
So it
left.
kind of looks distorted a little bit because you're
Yeah, so
stretching them.
and some designs don't matter that you stretch
Yeah,
it. They
it
actually look
doesn't.
better. And then here's the fit. So the fit keeps the aspect ratio of the pattern,
Right.
and the stretch will stretch it to your placement boxes. But it does stop growing when it hits one side. So
Okay. And then can you show how if you're doing a multi-pattern placement, how you pick different patterns? So maybe you do the bear and a duck.
oh yeah. Yeah, sorry if I
Just
missed
click
it.
on multi-placement and they can pick another one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So my bear's gray, and so I'm gonna hit pattern on the bottom right-hand side, and then it's gonna ask a question, would you like to place this pattern again? And I'm gonna say yes. And another pattern came up. I'm going to go to select pattern on the top left toolbar, and I'm going to select another pattern and open it. And then this one is ready to be placed. And I can place it over there.
And then Marie, if you put a margin on this ball, and then, yes, let's start with a margin. And then if we wanted to copy and place a second ball on the other side of the bear, will that keep the margin?
If you copy it.
Yep, if you hit copy. Yep, it will. And
Okay.
then when you hit copy, it brings the pattern right in the center and ready for you placing it. And also in the block placement, if you've noticed, whenever I touch a node, the whole thing shifts over there. And then it's much easier.
These are fantastic questions. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, we could spend so much time on this. I hope that little bit helps. But
Real quick, if you have not yet signed up for the Quilters Playground community, make sure you sign up for that.
Oh, wait, I want to give them a call if you're thinking about upgrading and trading in your machine. It's always an option, and our sales associates are awesome. They'll help you in the right direction. So you guys, no stopping, move forward.
Yep. Yeah, we're
Okay,
definitely here to consult you, not like try to sell you something that
Yeah.
you don't need or want. So
Technical support, dial that same number and use option 2, or just email them support@graceframe.com. They're here to help you with whatever questions you may have. Also email Carla. So we saw a quilt that she's been helping with. If you need help or just want some other ideas, she's fantastic to brainstorm with. So don't be afraid to use that. So watch us again on YouTube. It should be posted tomorrow. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all those fun things help our YouTube channel grow, help our Quilters Playground get the word out. You can find us at The Grace Company. Thank you all and have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. See ya.